Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to what I think is the biggest and best city in the state of New Jersey, Newark. Um, it's a great day for the state of New Jersey, but also a greater day for the city of Newark. The majority of our residents in Newark take public transportation, and the primary form of public transportation they take is the bus. And these buses are provided mostly by New Jersey Transit, taking kids to school, taking parents to work, making sure they have access to all of the growing opportunities that are happening here in our city. So this is an opportunity for Newark that we are embracing and that we're very, very excited about. This governor has made true to every promise that he has made while he was campaigning around the state of New Jersey, and we're excited to have him here once again in the city of Newark, making another incredible announcement about his work as the governor of this great state. So without further ado, who do I bring on next? Oh, the big guy. Governor Phil Murphy.
Thank you. Yeah. Even the dogs are happy. I think that's Max. I met him earlier. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Mayor Baraka, for your introduction, for your leadership, and for welcoming us yet again to the great city of Newark. We know you're busy as heck these days, so it makes it even sweeter that you're here this morning. Before we get into our discussion today, I want to give a shout out with a heavy heart to the family of Officer Tambi Yegan, who was killed yesterday in Patterson in a vehicular accident. By all accounts, he was a really special guy. I spoke to his brother last night. I spoke to the chief. It was his big brother, by the way. You can imagine what that's like, losing your little brother in one of these awful accidents. So please keep him and his family in your prayers. In addition to the mayor this morning, I'm honored to be joined as well by NJ Transit Executive Director Kevin Corbett. Who's been on the job for a couple of months, and with his team and with a great board chaired by our Department of Transportation Commissioner Diane Scocchetti, they are making a difference. You know, we can't solve all of the mess overnight, but the needle is moving in the right direction. I'll come back to these two young guys in a second. You'll be getting, I think you're probably used to seeing Kevin and I together a fair amount, usually with Diane, who couldn't be with us today. But as I've said many times before, getting our mass transit system up off the mat and working again for commuters is not only a tough job that requires all of us to chip in, but it is also one of our highest priorities. We've discussed at length the steps that we're taking to ease the commutes of rail passengers, and today we're going to highlight the improvements that our $242 million of infusion into NJ Transit will deliver for those along the bus routes. And as the mayor said, these are some of the most vital routes we have in the state. We were trying to do this last week, and we got flooded out. Ray said that he had never seen flooding like we saw last week. So take two, we're finally here at last on a beautiful spring day that is bringing out all of our allergies, I have to say. I'm incredibly honored to be with the guys on my left as well, in addition to the mayor and Kevin. Senator Pat Duignan, who chairs the chairs the Transportation Committee, is an extraordinary public servant coming at us from Middlesex County, but a guy like any of the great public servants cares about the entire state, and he sure as heck cares about getting NJ Transit right. And you'll also, some of you may recognize that two to my left is ATU Chairman, my good friend Ray Greaves, who's with us this morning, Ray. And so many of the leaders and employees, many of whom are here today, who are playing key roles in our efforts to modernize and restore the pride in NJ Transit. And thank you all for being with us today. As tough as we've been on NJ Transit, every time we've said it's nothing to do with the men and women who go to work every day doing the best they can. This was about leadership and support, and that's what's changing. Again, when people, and I'm guilty of this, by the way, in my own rhetoric, when people think about NJ Transit, they think more often of the trains. But that's not even half the story. The fact is, more New Jerseyans rely upon NJ Transit's bus operations as part of their daily lives than ride the rails. And these riders have similarly seen their services decline and their fares go up. We have all heard the complaints of buses arriving late and overcrowded when they do show up. We have a plan to address these issues and need your help to make sure we can execute this plan effectively. As part of the budget we proposed, bus riders can hope for better days and better rides ahead. In addition to sharing in the good news that fares would not increase at all in the upcoming fiscal year, and when folks hear that, they have to realize that runs through June 30th of 2019. Our plan also means the budgeting for 40 much needed new bus driver positions among other vital jobs that must be filled. And funding these positions is only half the job. Getting them filled with qualified people is the other. We now look to the residents of New Jersey to be part of NJ Transit's renewal. NJ Transit is already recruiting for bus drivers and other key roles needed to improve bus service in New Jersey. And this isn't just about machines. We need to rebuild NJ Transit's energetic, hardworking, and dedicated workforce. To apply for these jobs and join NJ Transit at this historic and transformative time, please go to njtransit.com/drive, njtransit.com/drive to learn more. In addition to NJ Transit getting these new hires lined up, fully trained and behind the wheel, there are other measures that will be taken to alleviate issues along routes statewide. So first and foremost is targeted relief of overcrowding on bus routes, and Kevin can get into this in more detail, in Bergen, Hudson, and Union counties, respectively, that are experiencing the largest increases in ridership. These are also all major corridor routes into the Port Authority bus terminal, so getting this right is crucial. We're also putting a renewed focus on the on-time performance of our bus fleet, and we'll take new steps to ensure that more buses arrive at the times they are supposed to, so customers can make it where they need to be on time as well. Finally, the funding outlined in our budget would give NJ Transit greater flexibility to mitigate effects of road construction or other external incidents that impact performance. And again, Kevin can give you some flavor of that. Again, he can speak to some of this in greater detail. But all totaled, we will get the resources rolling quite literally to make life easier for our bus commuters. As I've said many times before, we know we cannot get everything fixed at once. It's going to take time, and it's going to take additional years of committed investments in NJ Transit to reverse the damage of years of neglect and mismanagement. We want commuters to leave their cars at home and rely upon mass transit, both our trains and our buses. But we can't realistically expect them to do so unless they know NJ Transit can get them to where they need to be reliably and on time. We now have a strong plan of action in place to give them that peace of mind and confidence to once again look to NJ Transit as the way to go. We have the competent and professional leadership in place to see it through, and we are making a significant commitment through our proposed budget. We ask the commuting public to continue working with us to get this system to where it needs to be, and together we'll get there. And we've got a great plan. We've got a great team. We've proposed a budget with the right amount of resources. But I'll tell you this, we're not spiking the football. We have to execute on that plan, and it won't be overnight, but I will tell you we are on the way, and we will get there. So thank you all so much for coming out today. I want to thank the brothers and sisters who work here every day for hosting us so graciously. As always, Mayor Baracco for hosting us in the great city of Newark. And with that, I'd like to introduce and bring up the Executive Director of NJ Transit, Kevin Corbett.
Thank you, Governor. When I had heard, Governor Murphy many times say, you need somebody that, he'll have your back. If there's anybody who has my back, it's certainly Governor Murphy, and I can't thank him enough for all that he's done. It's true. It's great talking about the FY19 budget and what it means. As the governor referred to, the increased level of funding provides benefits for the organization, particularly the ability to restore staffing levels for a range of positions critical to the proper operation of the nation's third largest transit system. As the governor referred to, there's a number of positions, human resources, training will give us the ability to accelerate the hiring process and expand the training classes that are critical positions, including, obviously on the rail side, the engineers and conductors, but on the bus operation side, for Ray and for many here to fill out a number of the positions, particularly on bus drivers. Today, the opportunity highlights some of the additional money, specifically where it's going to go for those enhancements that are so necessary to improve the experience for our bus customers, because ultimately that's what it's all about. To start, we're looking for 40 additional bus operators in the budget. We have a shortage of bus operators, and that ties into some of the specifics that we're doing from this recruiting. I would encourage anybody, I'm shameless in promoting, and for many of the rank and file here, get the word out that we want to consider a good career in New Jersey Transit, to embark on a new career or even a second rewarding career in public service with good benefit programs that we have that you all know about. You're going to see recruiting efforts in a number of places if you haven't noticed them already. Specifically, we're using social media, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn to get the word out. You can also go to, as the governor said, to njtransit.com/drive to learn more about how to become a bus operator. When you visit the website, you'll see some videos of current New Jersey Transit bus operators telling you in their own words why being a New Jersey Transit bus operator is such a rewarding career and is such a great place to work. We're holding a bus operator hiring event this Wednesday, April 25th, at our general office building in Maplewood at 5:30. We have also 2 more hiring events scheduled in May at Bergen Community College on May 1st and May 24th, both scheduled to begin at 5:30. Please, again, visit our website, njtransit.com/drive, for more information on those events. Aside from hiring additional bus operators and other bus personnel, there are other steps we're taking to improve the customer experience on a number of levels. For the first time in decades, money will be available for targeted relief on overcrowded and specific bus routes with the fastest growing ridership. Some examples that the governor referred to, some specific examples of these identified are in Bergen County, River Road Corridor, including bus routes 156, 158, 159. In Hudson County, the Hoboken bus routes 126 and 123. And in Union County, bus routes 113 and 114. We'll look to make these improvements on the shoulders of the peak-to-peak in the AM and PM hours, and during select times on weekends where we have tracked spot overcrowding and on that. The money is also being used to monitor on-time performance and provide enhancements. These will provide improvements to the customer experience at the bus stop level. Through these enhancements will involve the adjustment of running times along with some additional buses with the additional bus drivers needed to provide bus stop arrivals and more in sync with the actual time, the time points on the schedule. 8 bus routes in both North and South Jersey will be targeted for on-time performance improvements, including the 81, 83, 84, 190, 410, 412, 603, and 606 routes. If you are any of the people who are on those routes, you'll know what I'll talk. It's amazing the bus culture, how you really know if you're a commuter, you know your bus routes and the dispatchers and what's going on those routes. So we're aware of these issues and we're determined to fix them soon. The money also gives us some more flexibility to mitigate effects on external factors such as road construction projects. To mention 2 in particular, we have the 495 construction project near the Lincoln Tunnel, and the target additional capacity improving on-time performance for additional trained qualified personnel is a foundation for getting us to be able to provide that improvements and mitigate those efforts as we see the ongoing construction that we'll be facing this summer. So I think on that note, I'd just like to say again, get the word out. It's an exciting time to be coming on board New Jersey Transit. We are doing a turnaround, and look forward to seeing getting the word out and getting a lot more people joining the team. And with that, you're going to jump in.
Yep. Thank you, Kevin. Let's hear it for Kevin. NJ Transit salutes our veterans. God bless our veterans. We do as well every day. We've put forth a budget that we feel really good about, and in New Jersey, I think, is a really good process. The governor puts it forward, and then there's an open, transparent series of hearings and discussions that last over a couple of months until we round out at the end of the fiscal year on June 30th. And you need to do that in concert with your legislative partners. And there's no better partner, particularly in transit matters, but I'd say more generally, than Senator Pat Duignan. Senator?
When I was standing back there, I was thinking, isn't it great to live in a state where we have a governor that you actually look forward to reading the newspaper in the morning or watching NJTV at night and see that he is actually putting his money where his mouth was during the campaign. Promises made, promises kept. You can't say that too often. We are really very fortunate to have Governor Murphy. After that detailed comments, I'm going to be brief. The mayor talked about the urban use of or reliance, and this is not an amenity. This is a necessity. This is how people get to work. This is how families survive, taking buses. My district, East Brunswick, I don't know if anybody has ever been at the bus depot on Route 18 in East Brunswick in the morning, where literally thousands of residents are taking that bus into the city to be able to pay their bills. This is not an amenity, this is a necessity. And I just want to thank the governor and the leadership for putting that commitment on behalf of the residents of my district, and I also commit on behalf of the legislature. Let's get this done. Thank you for your hard work, Governor.
Thanks, Pat. Really appreciate that. Yeah, I have to, before I ask Ray to come up and say a few words, I got to reiterate what the mayor said and the senator just reiterated. For all the discussion on rail, it's buses that make the show go in urban centers, in urban communities, right? And in transit hubs like the one you referred to in East Brunswick. I mean, it is literally the lifeblood of this state. He started here a couple of decades ago. I'm not going to age him, but I want to bring up a great friend, a great public servant in his own right, and one of the, we live and die. This state was built on the back of union labor, and we're going to rebuild it on the back of union labor, and there's no better example than our friend Ray Graves, right?
Wow, I'm on cloud 9 right now. I'll tell you, I never referred to 601 Doremus Avenue as cloud 9 before, but today is cloud 9. You know, Governor, I want to thank you, and as Mayor Baraka and the other speakers have said, you are the transportation governor. You campaigned on fixing mass transit. Today, you are in the facility that not only maintains, but we rebuild buses and transit every day here in this shop. And how good is it to have the governor who is going to rebuild New Jersey Transit be in Newark shops today talking about fixing New Jersey Transit. I also want to recognize Mayor Baraka for all he has done here, not only in the city of Newark, but throughout the state. He is a transit advocate. He understands that getting people to work, getting people to their doctor's appointment, people who need affordable, reliable mass transit, he knows what it means. He gets it. So, Mayor, I want to thank you for all of your efforts in seeing that New Jersey Transit grows and prospers under this administration. So thank you. You know, we not only have a responsive and responsible administration right now heading the ship, right, driving the bus. We have a team here at New Jersey Transit under the new executive director, Kevin Corbett, who, with his team, Mike Kilcoyne here and his team that's here, and our team, our ATU team, our family, the workers, who understand the importance of getting our commuters, our passengers, to work every day, on time, safe, and at an affordable price so they can commute. We need to get more cars off the road. We need to enhance mass transit. And after 8 years of an administration that never put any effort into seeing that this transportation system grows and prospers, we now have that opportunity. And Governor, the men and women of the ATU that are here with us today are committed to seeing that New Jersey Transit gets back to being the premier transit agency in the country. So with that, I will wrap it up, and I just want to also point out we have some police officers here today, too, and we have some new hires, Governor. A recent group of police officers, New Jersey Transit Police, that were hired. And you know what? Our workers not only appreciate what you guys and ladies do every day out there protecting our mass transit lines, but our commuters are indebted to your service. We appreciate everything that the New Jersey Transit Police has done, and we want to see New Jersey Transit Police also expand under this administration. So the dollars that the governor is delivering is not only going to make us run better, it's also going to provide safer mass transit for the people of New Jersey. Thank you.
We got time for a couple of questions. Is that all right? A couple of questions. Is that all right, folks? Brian? Oh, Lord. I'll defer all that to Kevin. I'll give you a quick answer, and then I'm going to ask Kevin to come up here. Number one, I got enough on my hands with the 21 counties in New Jersey. I'm not taking Staten Island, so I appreciate the offer. Secondly, as I said, we can't. Two quick comments. We're not spiking the football. We're not portraying in any way, shape, or form, whether it's a rail experience or a bus experience, that from Monday to Tuesday everything's going to be bright and sunny. But the fact of the matter is, both in rail and in bus, we think folks can begin seeing improvements in the near term. I would also, the second comment, and I'll ask Kevin to give you a little bit more color, is that everybody's going to have, particularly in the social media, and I'm not making light of any of the incidents you talked about, no one will likely put on social media a good experience these days, right? So they're going to put something on there, and we have, tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people who use these buses and rails. In fact, we do have hundreds of thousands every single day. We don't make light of any bad experiences, but the reality is, God willing, going forward, we're going to have a lot more good ones than bad ones. Kevin, what would you say in terms of timing?
I would say, well, certainly the budget starts in July, but we're anticipating that already. I think there are a couple of issues, Brian, you touched on. One is the communication with our customers, and we already are taking steps to upgrade that, how we communicate, how we centralize, how we get the message out. As the governor says, with a lot of the social media, people will be, commenting within minutes. And sometimes a lot of those, we think we run a good service, but you're always looking to improve it. Sometimes we find out things that are not acceptable. We have a way of looking at that to be able to respond quicker, and we're working on that right now. Now you'll be seeing, that within months. The things that we come on, like our My Bus on our app, that kind of thing. So that's the communication side, and you'll be seeing that within months. The other issues really fall in two categories on the service level. One is what we can do with additional drivers and the buses that we have, and leaving the capital procurement. We do have a cycle and looking to accelerate that on the capital side, procurement. But on the operating side, we'll be able to start seeing improvements this summer, and we need them this summer, particularly when you look at the breakdown between interstate bus trips versus those going into Port Authority bus terminal. And I think some of what you're seeing is the overcrowding, particularly on those bus routes, and we can go over the route by route individually, but those are targeted heavily on those routes where buses are full, they're going, they're overcrowded, they're bypassing. So adding more drivers, more buses, that'll help with that. And particularly with this summer, with the work that's going to be going on the 495 approach, That's really critical timing-wise. The issues at the Port Authority bus terminal, the congestion, we did a major improvement several years ago that, organization that Mike orchestrated to be able to get better throughput through the third floor of the bus terminal. But there's only so much you can do. We're working. We've had several meetings with the Port Authority to see what we can do with the rest of the space to improve get that same productivity in cycling through. But, basically those tunnels, and if there's a truck that breaks down or something like that, we have the express bus lane. The issue about the Port Authority bus terminal is real, and there's no magic wand for that.
Amen. We get asked this a fair amount. You didn't ask this question, but we're not waiting. What we're talking about today, we're not waiting for the new budget. So Kevin has already, particularly in the recruiting and the bus, the routes that we're trying to alleviate the pressure on is happening now. Brent. I'd say headed in the right direction with a lot still ahead to do. That's why I said I don't want to spike any footballs. I feel I don't believe in letter grades, Brett. But I feel like we've got a lot done, more than I expected would get done. But again, I'm not spiking any footballs. We have a ways to go. Please. I'm not sure I heard this, but we raise the sales tax and would we what? No, we have no plan to lower the gas tax. The Transportation Trust Fund was bankrupted under my predecessor. I was always, by the way, you pay a political price for that because nobody wants to pay more for anything. And the sales tax was reduced as a gimmick, just so that he could say that he didn't raise taxes in the aggregate. It wasn't reduced for any good public policy reason. So that will stay. And listen, we don't take the sales tax piece lightly. I've said this to some of you before. If you're in the sort of $75,000 to $125,000 a year income in your family, that's going to cost you $85. And so I don't take any one of those dollars lightly. But I would say this, and this is the important point, we're going to put multiples of that $85 back into that family, not just in this budget, but going forward in terms of the investment we're making in education, transit, as we hear discussed today, and many other initiatives. Michael. My number was and remains 242 because that's what it is. At one point during the prior administration, the state support was reduced by 90%, 90%, and it stayed down there. And I think I said this to you at the time, there were several years, and I can't recall which ones, but something like 11, 12, 13, or 12, 13, 14, where if you aggregated those 3 years, you wouldn't get to the increase, the amount we're putting in this year. Please. Now, I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, Charlie, that I think New Jersey does this process quite well. And so we present the budget, and when you first get elected, as I have been, you do that a little bit later, so the process is a little shorter. It's normally in February. We did it in March, and I thank the legislative leaders for allowing that extra few weeks to get our ducks in a row. But you then have a series of gives and takes, and Pat's been a part of this in both chambers. In some cases, you're having leadership meetings, which we do regularly. In other cases, it's bilateral discussion. In other cases, it's open committee meetings. I don't govern, and I never will, by the polling. But I will say this: that we're quite comfortable with what we've put forward for, among other reasons, we think it's good public policy. This is a historic investment in the middle class and in the dreams, particularly, I'd say, in urban communities of those, as I did when I was growing up, who look up and aspire to get into the middle class. But folks are, they want fairness, and the middle class has been ravaged. And I think people get that. If you look at any indication, folks are saying, you know what, with all due respect, this is not class warfare, but the wealthiest among us need to pay their fair share. Let's do good housekeeping on corporate loopholes and hedge funds. Let's undo tax gimmicks. Let's get back to doing the things we used to do really well in this state. And I think that's a very reasonable, overwhelmingly supported place to be, and it gives me optimism that we'll get to the right place in the end. We're going to do one more, Danny? Anybody else? I will ask the Executive Director, Mr. Corbett, to answer that.
Larry, obviously, on-time performance, there are factors that figure into it, and that's when you have things that you can't anticipate, that'll go wrong. Things that you can anticipate, shame on us if we don't adjust the schedule to match right and put the resources where we have. Aside from having a great governor behind me, also he was fortunate enough to give me a great board chair, Diane Scaschetti, who is also DOT commissioner, and our staff and her staff are coordinating together with the Port Authority, where the real crunch is going to come on how we schedule and what we do for the bus, the express bus lane, et cetera, and how we augment the specific routes, the number of which I mentioned earlier. So to take that burden, but it's going to be a tough summer. So we'll have more details to come out as we finalize as we get closer.
Well, last summer was the summer from hell. Is this going to be the summer from purgatory, I hope, at least? Thank you so much for hosting us, particularly to our NJ Transit brothers and sisters. Ray, it's good to be back where it started. Senator, always an honor. Kevin, thank you for your leadership. And Mayor, God bless you, man. Doing an unbelievable job, and thank you for hosting us again so graciously in Newark. Thanks, everybody. Hey, Brianna.